What's going on, Action Army?
What's happening, guys? Welcome to the show. Welcome to the official Action Army show.
Welcome to the most important hour of your life this week. If you're not watching this show, you're probably a Jackass or a Lion's Den fan.
Yeah, guys, it's basically a fucking call to action. Just kidding. It's exactly what it is, okay? This is the intro to Call to Action. The single most important piece of content you're going to ingest in the next 7 minutes.
If you love Action Army and you love Ben and Drew, then this is the place to be. And if you don't love us, well, then fuck you.
Go buy a suit, get it fitted, get the pants tailored so the length is just right and the break of your pants looks fantastic, get a bottle of Jameson, and get on fucking board.
Peace out.
We're gonna get some bad audio in here. Alright guys, I'm here with Team Action, the boss, the goat,
That's right.
the goat killer. So guys, what are your thoughts on your most recent matches?
There's somebody cheering for somebody who's not us. That's a mistake.
Yeah, I feel like everyone there is just wasting their money on talking to fans. This is the real fans. You see, we've been out here signing autographs with real fans. This is only about 1/50th of the people that were out here earlier. There was literally about 300 people out here just for us.
We even discounted down from 149 to 119 an autograph. And
Roken,
you know what?
get the fuck out of here.
Roken, go,
Roken,
come on.
get out of here.
Get the fuck out of here.
Disgusting creature. Jesus Christ. Where did he come from?
Get out of here.
Get out of here is our interview. Anyway, what do we think about the matches? I mean, whatever. Winston sucks.
I'll sign this for anybody. $119. I swear. Okay, I'm kidding. I'm not kidding. Look, the future of Team Action exists next season. Right now, taking care of business. You know, he's got an exciting match coming up.
Look, I'm going to win the belt. You're going to win the team's belt. And then we're just going to have all the belts.
We're going to combine
All
multiple
the belts. All the records.
Roken, how the fuck did you get this in?
Oh, oops. I think this
I
guy's
did it
gonna-
again.
I did it again. All right, boys, look, if you're not buying drinks, you got to leave the bar, all right? If you're not buying drinks, you got to get out of here.
Look, guys, it's a 2-drink minimum, okay? 2-drink minimum. There he is. There he is.
Another question for you guys.
Yeah.
Your guys' most recent match.
I mean, look, I dominated Riley. That's all I ever wanted to do was just keep destroying champions. And look, Ben got short-sticked, okay? I'm not going to get into it, but what happened in that match was disgusting, and it will never happen again. Those 5 pointers is not okay.
It was an unfortunate situation, you know. The reality of the whole situation is it was just clearing the path for the destiny, which is, you know, Riley and I, we're going to take the team's belt, he's going to take the singles belt, and, you know, we'll look back in a couple months and we'll both forfeit our title shots and take a Team Action title shot. That's
Any,
Margaret. It's all
any
that
message
matters.
to the fans, Action Army fans?
Message to the fans is we appreciate every single piece of support that any single person in the Army has ever given us. From 0 to 100. And the bottom line is patreon.com/Team Action is where you can get exclusive behind the scenes interviews. Here you go. Whoa!
Don't forget the drunk match.
Oh yeah, the drunk watch song. We're good at that.
Oh, yeah, we're going to get shit-faced. More drunk than we are right now. So, we got to go. Great interview. Thank you, sir. You didn't buy a drink. You can't keep talking to us, all right?
I got to give these sunglasses back to a member of the Action Army. I owe them to it. That's what we do. We give our clothes off our backs. Andrew. Yeah.
All right, everybody. I'm here with Mark Donica, one half of the Knights of Ken. And Mark, question, your most recent match. I know you weren't feeling too well. I know you were, things were up health-wise. Are you feeling? You feeling better? Are you feeling any better? And
first of all, I want to thank you for taking the time out to making sure that I was okay. It's a very important message to get out there, as I think a lot of people need to acknowledge that there are all of these mental health issues that need to be brought to the forefront. I am feeling better. It is thanks to the Schmoedown community, so I highly thank them for every bit of support that I got. But when it comes to my last match, ultimately, I wasn't there. I wasn't on my game. But don't take that as a repeatable performance, because I'm going to be back and I'm going to be better than ever.
All right, and what do you think is your future in the league?
So right now, I'm trying to focus on Inner Geekdom. Now, with the tournament and everything, it's hard to stay focused when you get knocked out of a single elimination tournament. So once this tournament wraps up and we start looking towards the spectacular, I don't know what the future has for me there, but I'm trying to get in Mike Kalinowski's good graces. I'm sorry, Thad's good graces, and figure out a way to get back into the title picture.
And okay, can I get your thoughts on the do you like the fatal 4-ways or the fatal 5-ways, or do you prefer the tournament style?
Well, personally, for me, the fatal 5-ways worked out for me in my favor initially before this tournament. That's what we were told was going to happen, and I felt very confident. Because when it's easy to sort of get lost in the shuffle in the best possible way. So if I was to be put in that situation again, no doubt I would have come out on top and been here live, taking on Jason Inman one more time.
Jason Inman part 2. And one last thing, what are your message to all those Schmoedown fans and all your fans?
I'm going to do the Shilly thing first. I'm going to say make sure you support the show by going to Patreon, by going to TeePublic, and supporting your favorite Schmoedown competitor. Clearly that's me. Go and check out my stuff and help me out there. But when it comes to all of the fans, you are so passionate, and the passion spills out to the stage and to the screen. We see every message, good or bad, but we appreciate you taking part in something that we spend a lot of time to make as a show for you. So good guy, bad guy, champion, somebody hungry for it, just know that everybody behind the scenes is so thankful, including myself.
And well, I thought about one more question.
Sure.
What's the future of what does the future look like for the Knights of Ken?
So in terms of the Knights of Ken, we're trying to bolster our numbers as much as possible. I mentioned stuff happening behind the scenes. I can't necessarily talk about that without Ken here, as he is my advocate. But just know that we are watching very carefully on tonight's events, being the live show, as well as the tournaments that will end the season 6. And I'll say personally, I can't speak for Ken, but I'm really happy with the team that he drew for the Ultimate Schmoedown Team Tournament.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, Mark Donefer, thank you so much.
Thank you.
So Oscar, I take it you're a Team Action fan as well?
Yeah, man, I became a team. You know what? It was after the DC movie news.
Yeah.
Team Action, DC movie news. That's when, I'm still kind of roughly new to the Schmoedown.
Okay.
I became
because I was going to say you're a pretty new fan then.
Yeah, I became a fan of Schmoedown because of Star Wars Explained.
Okay.
I promoted and I didn't know what it was. I was like, okay, I tried it out. All I did was watch that match, whatever. Then I saw it get into the championship, and then I just I didn't see it again until like months later, and then I just maybe like 2 or 3 months later after like Spectacular, I think that was the Sam Whitworth and Knapsack match. So
yeah.
Probably like 2 months later, I started watching like on the regularly.
Have you gone back and watched like old episodes?
Yeah, I've even done that. I do that I would do that when I would it was almost time to go to bed. I put it on my TV and see all these old matches.
I think most of us became Action fans like last year's team tournament when they started just like blowing through everyone.
Yeah, man. I like I said, I never even heard of them. I don't think I heard of them, but I became a fan of them of that match, that DC movie news, and just the last that 5-point question when he's like, oh, like when he pats Ben, and that at that point that's when I was like, and they just milk the clock. I just became an instant fan like that.
Have you seen their first top 10 match?
No, I haven't. Wait.
Ben does something real funny with his last question too.
Yeah, I gotta see that then. Yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't really. You know what? I did see the first, when they fought the Night Sisters.
Oh yeah.
I watched that one.
Or as Tom Dagnino called them, the Good Night Sisters.
What was the second one? Like the night, late to the party, I think, or something.
Party.
I'm
Yeah.
not sure, but there was another one I saw.
That's still my favorite entrance they've ever done.
Yeah.
Oh, when they're like, "Where are you guys reacting?" Yeah. I saw
By the way, so James, are we recording right now?
Yes, we are actually.
Oh,
I was gonna say, I was normally gonna have like a big sort of special intro, but I think this sort of like earnest conversation is a great way to start it. So, hey guys, welcome to the Call to Action podcast. As you can see, we have a guest on, but first off, since we're like doing cameras now, I thought I'd introduce you. I'm James. I'm in this big, very empty and boring-looking college dorm. Yeah. Go.
My name is Michael, and I am in an exorbitantly expensive studio apartment in central Boston.
And I'm Oscar. I'm the guest, I guess, for today. I'm right here in my car with the AC on, making sure I don't sweat this out.
Yeah, and the reason we're having Oscar on, and which he's a little bit more important than his name would suggest, is that he was our special contact at the live show. And before we wanted to get into match recaps, Oscar, I was wondering, do you want to sort of go over what that atmosphere was like? Because I was at the last two, and you were also at the last one.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, none of us could be there. So do you want to describe how everything went down
the
this
atmosphere
time?
was just, it was insane. It was just exactly like the last one. You don't know what to expect, and I hate to say this on here. I'm a Team Action fan, but even when I saw like Roca and Murrow come out, I was like, I have to take a picture. It was just it's because you're seeing these guys, and it's like you see these guys on TV on your screen, and you're like, wow, this is for real, and the beginning of the before the matches even started, I'm not too sure if it was shown on the YouTube on this well, in the beginning they showed they had the Wildberries like do intros. I'm not sure if that was shown. I kind of
That wasn't on YouTube, no.
No, okay. So the first 15 minutes or so, they the Wildberries came out, they riled up the crowd. They were like, "Oh, does anybody want to be a contestant on the Schmoedown? Is this your chance?" And they just asked like questions like, okay,
damn it.
They asked like, oh, name all the cities where, like for example, all the cities where James Bond has been on in each James Bond film in alphabetical order. Something crazy like that, so you wouldn't get it, and
If someone can actually do that, they kind of have to let them on at that point. Like,
you know what? There was at one point, I think the last question it was something similar. It was something very, very easy, like, what is the name of this person on this person? And all they did was just give away. Brianne was giving away shirts, posters, and you could see in that Roca Merle match when they talk about Jeopardy, he was
don't have an aneurysm, James. All right.
Yeah, he was giving out buttons and everything, and it was. I think that's how they should probably start off like each match, each live event with the Wildberries, because that was freaking awesome, man. They're just especially Makua and Dewberry. Those guys are hilarious.
They love to entertain. Even anarchy cannot break them apart.
Well, that was the great thing about the first one was the real like. Because before then, everyone was super new to it. They weren't sure what they were doing. Even the fan and competitor interaction was a lot less. But then, in the first, you have the undercard match, which is Real Rejects and Wildberries. Real Rejects have the rhyme for their
entrance.
But like for the real, and then Wildberries just come out. And it's like, I don't know how to rhyme things, but he attacked my wife. Like immediately, they knew what they were doing.
Yeah,
they walked in there and owned that fucking stage, and I cannot wait. If wherever these live shows go next, I think that they are instrumental to their success because they can capture a room almost as good as Action. They're like number 2, but it's a solid number 2.
Well, if anyone's captured a room during a live event, because this is a good segue, it is Coy Jandrew
Boy
with
is
his
fucking
Jurassic
Coy
Park
was good.
themed, whatever the fuck that was.
Yeah, that was just it was just like the lights went out and I didn't know what to expect. Then I think first it was Merle and Roca, and then the lights went out, and then you just see him like right there on stage, and then but yeah, man, that was he knows how to rock the mic.
Oscar, I just got one question for you regarding that whole thing. Did you get any kind of glimpse into those dinosaur costumes?
Yeah, because when I saw them coming down, and I saw them and I kind of recognized them that it was like the real rejects. And then you know what? I had the perfect seat, because at the last live event, I saw that I was on the right hand side, so I knew they were gonna come down through the left, and where I sat, Guy was next to me, and in the back of me was late to the party.
Wait, what the fuck? What the fuck?
All right.
Yeah.
Cool it, James. So Andrew Guy sat next to you at the live event.
He was like on the other side, where all the competitors are at, and literally, Guy was like right next to me. And
I just reached out and was like, brother, I am here for you.
And like 2 rows back was Merle's mom, so that was cool. So that was pretty cool.
Oh yeah, so yeah.
All right, so you're confirming now that the real rejects were in the dinosaur costumes.
Yeah.
Okay, I've been dying to know since watching that.
See, I would just really love if the other horsemen were in the dinosaur costumes, because they are fossils. It would just fit in with the theme.
Yeah, that would have been cool.
I mean, not so much with the action theme, but I'm kind of dying for 2 of them to do that thing where like one of them's the front legs of the horse and one of them's the back legs. I want Roca and Nos to do that at some point. I think that'd be hilarious. I think Roca takes himself way too seriously to ever try that, but I would give him so much props if he did.
I could see Mark Riley and Andrew doing that for Ben's next match.
Yeah.
Maybe. Or even Ben and Riley for the Roca match next week. But before we digress into just semi-coherent ramblings, what was your thoughts on the actual match of Founding Fathers and Wait, I Know This?
This is the best handicap match I've ever seen.
Yeah,
okay,
it was something else. It was just like I was like, come on. I mean,
props to Stacey Howard for almost beating 2 former champs entirely by herself.
Yeah, I mean,
Stacey's a fucking champ. Like, oh my god.
Yeah, I'm not that good at trivia, so I didn't really know some of the answers. But I heard a lot of people, oh my god, come on, and a lot of people gravitating to was it Winston, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Because he didn't know some of the answers, but I mean, they held their own. I mean, I think if it was against anybody else. They probably would have had a better shot. But the fossils, they've been out here. They've been on there longer. So
if the universe aligned and we got Stacey and Brienne back, 6 Degrees would have fucking crushed them. But
I think that's still a number 1 statement.
What were you guys' thoughts? You think they should have gone to what was it? I can't think the one of the wheel slices. I forgot what it was, but
I think quotes over release dates I would have gone to.
Oh yeah, who said it would have fucking killed them?
There was another one. I can't remember who was it.
Julia Roberts.
Yeah, Julia Roberts.
Julia Roberts.
I think everybody in the audience was like, kind of, assumed they kind of were going to go Julia Roberts, but
yeah, the release dates category is actually pretty easy, or it's gotten pretty easy, I think, because so many people have kind of fallen victim to it that I think they've kind of overcompensated. For example, you're almost never going to be asked to name a release date that's not more than like 30 years ago. It's usually pretty high-profile films that made a lot of money, and you can, at the end of the day, multiple choice will narrow it down to several years that you can kind of pick between.
Yeah.
It's not the insurmountable category that it once was. I think movie quotes would be harder because sometimes they pick the most obscure quotes that is just like ridiculous. And I think, yeah, Julia Roberts, because I think everyone knows, Aaron Brockovich, everyone knows, the hits, but she's got a lot of deep
Ocean's films. After that, nothing.
Well, no, I mean, even some of her older stuff, like before, like back when she was like America's Sweetheart,
like Notting Hill kind of stuff.
Yeah, that's the era people have in mind. And I believe Stacey's pretty good with rom-coms, so she might have maybe looked to get some steals in that department. But what people aren't thinking about is that she's been acting for forever, and she has such a varied filmography that there's always a lot of those films that sneak in there that people are like, wait, she was in that, and that could have really tripped anyone up. So I would have probably gone with that. Actually, I didn't realize it was on the wheel, but
everybody was kind of surprised, shocked it didn't go, but I think it's just I think it gets to I think the the live setting gets to everybody.
Yeah, and I think say what you will about John Roca, but he thrives off the crowd. He really digs it and he soaks that in, and he's played two of the best matches of his career at live events. Him beating JTE, that was a phenomenal match he played.
He whooped JTE.
We can't forget that these live shows are basically the arc of the Horsemen. The first one, Roca won and announced the 4 Horsemen were coming back. Second one, 5 Horsemen are here. And the third one, I had a lot of theories going into it that they may break up. If Inman lost and they lost, only 50% of that happened. But still, all 3 of the live shows have tracked the Horsemen's arc. And it went from the rise, the peak, and the redemption after both of them.
At the first live show, they had a ending credit, so to say. Or is that what you're alluding to?
In the post-match interview, Roca just turned to the audience and said, the Horsemen are coming. Keep your eyes out. Something like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, he also denied the existence of a Horseman curse, but I do want to point out that the very next match, as of that, the Horsemen are now 2-3 since they've formed, so they do have a negative record.
I think you mean 1-3.
No, they beat Bateman, won at the live event as a team.
Okay, yeah.
Guy beat 2 of theirs, and Inman lost.
You mean the people themselves, not the okay.
Yeah. Collectively, as a faction, they are 2-3 since they formed.
And
yeah,
hopefully that changes to 3-2 because, or 1-4. How the fuck?
Mathematically impossible.
I'm still pissed at that Bateman match. I'm still.
Yeah.
I still we were this close to get a team action face to face.
But you see, I'm actually happy that Andrew's facing Roca because, this isn't a time where we want to do into the whole drama thing. That's set aside for different times. But Roca's just being a piece of shit on Twitter right now.
Yeah.
And Andrew's called it out on the Patreon stuff, which isn't my place to share. And he said a couple times on Twitter himself, and I think on Action Movie Anatomy last week. So I really can't wait for him to step up and push Roca's shit in.
Intro, right? In the beginning of the Action Anatomy, I think he said something.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a big as I've said before, I'm a big Bibiani fan. So Andrew versus Bibiani would basically be 2 of my favorite players facing off against each other for the title. So at this point, I don't care which of them wins, but one of those 2 I want to be championed by the Spectacular. Now, let's kind of finish off with this match itself. So round 1. It's important to note Stacey Howard outscored Dan Murrell, which is a pretty big deal.
Right. I'm gonna call that out because 6 points isn't something to look to be light about because in all the single matches, the most they scored was 5. These are people who are supposed to be going for the belt, and they're going to get 5 fucking points, most of the time 4, in a singles match. Well, and the fact that Stacey can get 6 is amazing.
I think Dan Murrell, he has not won a first round since the three-way at last year's Collision.
Fuck.
So he didn't. I don't believe he won round one against Harloff, which was a very low-scoring game in general. Scored pretty poorly against Andrew in his round one, and then he gets outscored by Stacy this time around. So he's, his accuracy rating is going down these last few matches, especially after. And actually, I think it's more accurate, by the way, to say that last time he won round one was actually against Sam Levine immediately after that Collision three-way. Yeah. But the point remains, it's the same date. So that's 3 matches in a row where that's happened. Roca was in fine form. Winston, it's important to note, scored 1 point that first round.
He did worse than Ricky, guys. Worse than Ricky fucking Hayberg.
I love Winston. He was a great presence to have. I think I could feel, even in YouTube, the crowd kind of getting behind Winston. I think this is really the first time people are kind of noticing him, because he kind of has, it's good that you mentioned Ricky Hayberg, because I think we need to start calling it the Hayberg effect. Like, when someone just is so bad at the Schmoedown and so endearing about their lack of talent that people start to kind of root for them on principle. I think the Wildberries' first 2 matches were a great demonstrator of that.
Things are like that right now.
Maybe he should go to maybe he should go to managing it, like Hayberg did.
Yeah, so I think that Winston kind of won over the crowd. I think that Coy's speech about the underdog is really more about Winston than it was about Stacy, because Stacy really hung in there. She was only outscored by Roca.
Well, here's the crazy thing is that, like, no more than I think like 2 months ago now, he was just in a number 1 contenders match, and at the same time, when Stacy was on 6 degrees, they were in not an exhibition, but like in a separation match. They were this close to separating permanently. They were that bad, and now Stacy is carrying her team and doing better than Dan fucking Merle, and Brienne was in a championship match. It's the sheer imbalance of the league right now is fascinating to me.
Yeah, I mean, I think they're done with the retirement matches for the simple fact that we have terrible teams that people still love. Nobody wants to break up the Wildberries. Like, that would just be a really depressing match.
Hey, you know what? Right now, they're number 1 contenders.
So don't be surprised if they go, you know what, screw it, Tough Beats is back. You know, why not?
Yeah.
If the Wildberries ever end up like 2-5 or whatever, and they need another opponent for them, they'd probably throw Terry and Jonathan at them or something. Or Team Wangers. I'd be perfectly fine seeing them back. Now.
Oh, I love Wangers back.
Yes. And so I think we've kind of solidified that Winston is now kind of in that class of player who is so bad. He's like the Room of Schmoedown players. Like, he's terrible, but you can't stop watching him.
No. Okay. You know who I want in the next singles match? Winston and Cody Hall. Because Cody had a perfect first round and took Lon to his final question.
Yeah, no, Cody, that would be an imbalanced match.
Did you guys see the Jurassic Park match?
Number 1 contender against the Shire Wolves. This would be a perfect match.
I did not see the Jurassic Park match. I intend to, so don't spoil it, please. But Cody's a great player. The only thing that holds him back is his age. Winston really has no excuse at this point. He just isn't good. So moving on to round 2, we already mentioned. Wade, I know this did not handle opponent's choice very well. Roca himself mentioned that they maybe didn't play that as boldly as they should have, because Dan knew a lot of those. Wade, I know this. Meanwhile, Winston is able to redeem himself a little bit with his slightly more than basic knowledge of Pixar. Wasn't a great round 2, but it was something. Scored more than 1 point. And you could definitely tell that Winston was kind of the force behind that round. This is something that he knows. It is no coincidence, I think, that the only point that he scored in round 1 was an animated question. I think that's kind of where he's a little more comfortable. And by the way, to Winston's credit, he was also the only person.
Speaking on age, about Cody Hall, are we sure Winston isn't just 5 years old?
I don't know.
Is that the conspiracy now that Winston Marshall, the whatever his fucking nickname is, he is secretly a very tall 5-year-old, and he just stumbled into the showdown.
I don't think that's the case. I think he just isn't good at movie trivia, which is the case for a lot of people. But credit where credit is due. That second round, he really did carry their team. Round 3, he misses his 2-pointer, which was not a very hard one. And Stacy gets her 3-pointer. They get that 5-pointer. It's a Middle-earth question, which seemed to kind of be a recurring theme of this live event. And they miss it, even though, as far as 5-pointers go, it wasn't too hard. It takes some kind of thinking. You kind of have to reason it out a little bit.
In my very recency bias heavy brain, I think it's one of the best 5-pointers I've ever seen, purely for how tightly it's written. And something you see criticized, at least when I see on the rundown a lot, is that 5-pointers you're supposed to have seen the movie. All the other questions like, oh yeah, you've seen the poster, you've read the plot synopsis on IMDb, you know what this is. This is a lot deeper because like one of my first answers was Andy Serkis, and I think he was just missing in Fellowship. And
no, he's in Fellowship.
Is he?
Yeah, he well. Oh wait, hold on. Gollum is, but Andy Serkis isn't.
Yeah, and then
So, yeah.
Orlando
But he's
Bloom
also
isn't
not
in.
in two of he's also not in 2 of the Hobbit movies.
Oh, is he not? Okay, I haven't seen the Hobbit movies. Are pieces of shit. That's why. But still, you have so many people to choose from, and I think it's amazing how deep you can dive into that question. I think it's a real, or suffice to say, I think it's a brilliantly written 5-point question.
Yeah, but once again, it's the kind of question that you just need to stop and think a little bit. And this is where people talk about how the lights getting to people. I think you're on the clock. They're asking you to name. Oh, there are 6 actors. Name 2 of them. And yeah, Kate Blanchett I think would have been an acceptable answer. Hugo Weaving I think would have been an acceptable answer. Christopher Lee, although that's a little dubious because I think in Return of the King he's only in the extended edition.
Yeah, that was the issue.
Yeah.
And not to mention, Stacey had the right answer. Winston made her change it to Orlando Bloom.
Yes.
So, once again, Stacey is fucking saving this team.
Yeah, I don't think they would have won anyway.
No.
But it would have avoided the TKO. And like I said, this really did feel like a bit of a handicap match. So there we have it. We heard John Roca call out Kalinowski a little bit. I haven't seen the fan leagues or anything, so I'm really dying to see what Chance Ellison is going to do because people are hyping this guy up like crazy. I want to see if they can take down the Founding Fathers. That would really solidify this guy as a heavy hitter right off the bat if he could win his first match and then go on to do that. Not to count out, Silvestrani and Devon Stewart. But Silvestrani's going to have to be real good because Devon Stewart is another of these guys who is not good at the Schmoedown.
Is it the guy with the pipe?
He's one of the Kingsmen. The one who's fake British.
Yeah. He's not British.
Yeah, he's not British. Yeah. The pipe and everything. And
yeah, British.
Yeah.
So
he's British inclined.
Yeah. Once again, I have never seen Rachel Silvestrani play, but she has quite a bit of weight on her shoulders in that she's carrying her team. Anyway, we had another match, an Inner Geekdom Championship match between Jason Inman, also of the Horsemen, or Horse People, as Viviani likes to say, and Mara Knopik. And I'm still made incredibly uncomfortable by the fact that the K in her name is not silent. What do you guys think of this match?
I will admit that. Hi, Harry. Like early on, I was I wouldn't say against Mara, but more of just aware of the fact that she's not scoring very well. She had very low accuracy rates in her matches. And the fact that she looks like my ex, it certainly isn't like something that helps. But her showing this match was just fucking incredible. Like, all the bad things I said about her, her sheer luck in the last match with Mike in the 5-pointer, I take it all back. She is a stellar competitor, and I cannot wait to see what she does in that Mike match. And as much as I love Mike, I really hope she destroys him. Because something I adored about Inman was the fact that he held the belt, which no other Intergeekdom champion had done before. If Mara can become like the Dan, forget the coincidence here, but the Dan Murrell of the Intergeekdom, I think that'd be fascinating. I would love to see where that can go, and not only a female champion, but one that just will not take your shit. Like, I don't think any competitor could phase her in her persona. Yeah. And I love to see where that develops.
I like her like dry sense of humor.
Yeah.
And it reminds me of myself. I'm kind of like that with like my family members or my friends. Have that very dry sense of humor. And that's what I love about her.
What I want to add about Mara that's very rare, especially in the Intergeekdom, because I think of kind of the pageantry of the Schmoedown, all the entrances and all that, and a lot of competitors very much take after John Roca, which is that they try their hardest to look as badass as possible. And it's very hard to take them seriously as such because they are playing movie trivia, answering a bunch of questions about nerd movies. No disrespect to them at all, but just that particular like aesthetic, like, oh, look how cool I look in this Halloween costume I'm wearing. That's really not that appeal. That doesn't have that appeal to me. So when people when the entrance of the year nominations come out at the end, and like everyone's like, "Oh my god, that entrance was so badass," I was like, "No, not for me." But hey, that's your thing. That's great.
Says the man who praises Bibiani. You can't be the one talking shit on entrances.
Oh no. Here's the thing. I like elaborate entrances, but Bibiani, outside of his first couple, he doesn't try to make himself look cool. In fact, his entrances are unabashedly silly, and I admire that. Now, Action, I think, walks a fine line between there. I think that they're heels, and that's kind of their role is to make fun of other people. They actually spend more time making other people look uncool than they do trying to make themselves look cool. And when they do the latter, it's so patently ridiculous, like with the canes and the top hats and the sunglasses that light up, that it just looks absurd. What I've never been a particular fan of is just the whole straightforward, I'm going to come out dressed as this movie character and start talking like them. And people are going to think that's, the operative word here is badass. Now, Mara doesn't do that. All right, she dressed up as Chewbacca, for Christ's sake. That was hilarious. All right.
I'm not even dressed up. She just wore a fucking onesie she bought at Walmart.
Yes. All right. I really like the competitors who don't take it too seriously and are able to kind of acknowledge the absurdity of it, because it is absurd that an auditorium full of people is freaking out over people answering questions about obscure movies. All right. That's silly. Yeah. I like that Mara knows that, and I like that she runs with it. And I think that a lot of other competitors could learn from that. I like Jason Inman a lot, but even his little speech where he's trying to quote Lord of the Rings and stuff, that felt a little bit awkward for me, because I just wanted that extra little ounce of self-awareness. And I know that at some level Jason knows what he's doing is silly and all that, but he doesn't have that kind of that wink and a smile that Mara has when she kind of does the same thing. And I love both competitors, but I'm really glad to see that Mara won. And I don't think I realized I wanted Mara to win until she started winning, because I just really enjoy her presence in the league. I really enjoy her whole vibe, and I think she's just a great competitor.
Yeah, I was rooting for Rachel. But then after that match, I was like, anything to beat KO.
Wow. Oh.
Okay, let's get. let's get to Kalinowski, because I actually do have an issue with the challenge that Kalinowski recently issued to Mara. So he is now in a title match. Now, here's the thing. I was very excited when Mike Kalinowski made his heel turn because I didn't know what was going to happen. I thought he was just going to be a straight heel. But, you know, I see a lot of his fans start talking about why they love Kalinowski so much. And the big thing in common that I hear is that he's more complex as a heel, which, you know, I'm kind of seeing this develop, and I can kind of sympathize because I want more kind of moral complexity. If the Schmoedown is going to show us these narratives, I want to see a bit more variety to them. I don't want to just see faces that are defined by the fact that they don't like heels, and heels that are defined by the fact that they mess with the faces. Kalinowski is more complex. The whole idea is that he feels that the system is corrupt, as he puts it, and that he wants to put it back in its place. Are you guys still on?
Yep, sorry, just blowing my nose.
All right, so we're just going to edit this part out?
Oh, go right ahead. Go right ahead.
So Kalinowski has been positioned as this person who's going to fix the corruption in the system. The problem is that now he's a part of that because he's just handed himself a title match. So this whole idea of Kalinowski as a more subversive heel, as a more complex heel, as someone who kind of explores the dynamics of the Schmoedown doesn't really work, because right now he is just he's just a heel with more power. And so not just from a perspective of fairness, but also from a narrative perspective, I don't like that. I think it kind of undermines what was so great about his character this season. And I think it solidifies why Andrew Guy is the best heel of the season for anyone who's asking, because I don't know why this is still a debate, because Andrew is the most consistent heel of the season. Mike Kalinowski, I don't know what his motivations are, and considering that a lot of the things he's doing are self-contradictory, I don't care as much anymore. Another reason I don't like this match is because, considering the #1 contender match that was set up, I kind of want Jason Inman to have more of a shot to get his belt back. And I just don't understand why Kalinowski is being given this chance that people like Jason Inman and Rachel Cushing, who I think came closer to beating Mara than he did. You know, I just don't get why Mike is being privileged over these other competitors.
And I don't want to get too inside baseball right now, but it is my understanding that whatever Mike has right now will be changing somewhat in the near future. My personal hope is that we need to see what Oscar's doing. That yes, Inman, but also Rachel, because of extenuating circumstances, she should have had, I wouldn't say different outcome, but something isn't done about that match, because that was just way too far.
Well, here's the no. I will say this. I think Rachel deserves a chance, but I don't think the circumstances of her match with Mara should have any bearing on that, because they both agreed to that match under those circumstances. Yeah. I think that match should be counted as it was. We should not be going back to rewrite history. Rachel is a great competitor, and we can speculate all day that she would have won otherwise, because she is easily in the top 3 Intergeekdom competitors of all time. But I think she should be given the same privileges that the other Intergeekdom competitors who placed as highly as she did would be given.
Because to me, I approach everything from a more emotional standpoint. So I think, in my opinion, Rachel and, bias aside, Mark Donica should both be given that chance at Redemption, because they both had a lot of just bad stuff coming out of that match, and I really hope that Oscar's back, that they can do something about that. Because if you look at it, like, yes, we had a lot of
sorry about that.
You're good. We had the slog of Intergeekdom matches that even us on the show we weren't big on, because it was a lot of one type of thing. And now we're in a drought where we won't see any until Spectacular, where we already know what the match is going in. And we're incredibly underwhelmed. I sincerely hope that following this, we'll get something like, Donica and Rachel play together to get a chance over there. And then Mike faces the winner of that match. Or, I don't know, maybe Jeremy Johns comes back. Or Hector Navarro gets another chance.
Well, Navarro, I don't think he should get another chance anytime soon because he lost the first round of this tournament.
Yeah, that was a really bad showing for Hector. But just
I think that we need to find a way, because the precedent set last year in the singles tournament was we had a three-way between JTE, who was the runner-up, and then the two semifinalists, who were Rachel and Mike. By that extension, we should be having a three-way between Mike, Rachel, and Donica. Of course.
No, it'd be Adam Hlavik.
Sorry, and Hlavik, yes. Okay.
Yeah.
The problem is that last year we didn't have to worry about where Harloff fit in because he retired right after he lost, but we don't know that Inman's going to retire, so we wouldn't know how to fit him in. So they're probably going to have to do something a little different, either a four-way between those four, or do like a little mini tournament like they did with singles, just like they're doing with singles just now between Action and the Horsemen. So maybe have, a couple of them pair up and then have that be a number one contenders match. But I really don't like kind of catapulting in this way, because
I think what would work would you have you have Donica versus Inman 2, and we have like basically the number one versus the bottom, sort of like in tournament style, and then you'd have that you would have Rachel versus Hlavik, and then in the actual number one contenders match is a three-way between Mike and the two other winners.
Yeah, well, no,
I
had mistakenly thought that Donica was a semifinalist along with Hlavik. Yeah. I don't think that you can have him in that position anymore, because then we're asking about why aren't the other quarterfinalists being given that privilege. Even though I love Donica, I have him on my fantasy team. He's the only interview team competitor I have on my fantasy team.
That thriving fantasy team.
Hey, listen. Donica helped me pull into an early lead in fantasy because he was winning left and right.
I'm talking about the actual Call to Action Fantasy League, where I pulled Shire Wolves in the first fucking round, and now it's just not happening anymore.
Yeah.
But anyway. I'm approaching this from a purely emotional standpoint. I can recognize that, because I relate to what Donica went through, and I want him to get that second chance. And I don't want to wait a year to have that happen. And
put him in a match against like Emma Fife for another quarterfinalist.
Oh God, no!
That's another handicap right there.
No, you know what? Put him match against Jay Washington.
Listen, I think, here's the thing:
Jay's been fucking
both of those competitors advanced to the second round and lost. They're right now rankings wise at the same level. That's kind of the reality that we're in right now.
What I was looking for was, I was thinking maybe Kalinowski versus Inman and a number one contenders match, and then he faces Mara for a spectacular, but Mr. Corruption, he's all corrupt now.
Yeah, that was it was interesting to see Ken and Chance with him.
Yeah. Speaking of the Chance and Ken, I was wondering who was walking with them I was like, I thought Ken Knapsack, but I was like, it can't. It just can't. But what does that mean for the Knights of Ken? So
Anarchy has thrown everything in flux, so the Knights of Ken are resting for now.
Something like we'll be showing all the footage Oscar got after this, but from what Donica said, the Knights of Ken seem to be still going on. So I'm sure Oscar will be there, or not Oscar, sorry. I'm sure Donica will be there supporting Ken and, sadly, Mike and Chance, despite what he went through, at their match, which is the next Patreon early match, which is really weird to me. I would be hoping it's something to sort of change the tournament, like the tournament timeline. Like if the Andrew Roku match was the Patreon thing, that makes sense to me. but we're getting to the corruption one, which I'm looking forward to, I guess.
And he corrupted the Patreon too.
Yeah. I would have just preferred if they chose a better name, because Chance is like the Viper or something in Full Metal Trivia.
No,
That's
I think it's the Cobra.
The Cobra, right? And not original, but it's pretty badass. But you're just calling it corruption. That's so lazy. It's the worst fucking team name in this entire tournament. It's worse than wait, I know this. How is that possible? Or worse than a fucking.
All right. Here's the thing, though. Best team name of this whole tournament, though, is the Paddington 2. All right. I'm just saying.
What the fuck is that? What is that?
They've also got Santa hats in the promotional photo, so I'm hoping they go far.
Wait. Is one of them coming out in a bear costume?
With the
One
marmalade.
of them is in a bear costume. The other one is a walking sandwich.
But their match is next. In fact, they'll probably have played their first match by the time this airs.
But I'm still gonna root for Janine, because like I want to root for Paddington, but I love Janine. I can't root against her.
Her teammate is the big question mark here, because Duralde and Atchity know their stuff, and they've been in the industry for a very long time. They are two top tier competitors.
Duralde is hit or miss. He crushed the free for all.
Okay.
Snyder.
Well, he never played Snyder.
Yeah, he did. It was his only.
That was Humberto Gonzalez.
God damn it!
Dude, are you confusing all Hispanic people? Is that what you're doing right now?
Yes, I am. Alfonso Cuarón. I have no idea how to differentiate between races.
Okay.
Because
that was happening.
I hate women, so apparently I can't tell Mexicans apart either. I am just great. I am a privileged white boy. I know it.
Yeah, for the record, Alonso Duralde in Free For All 1 lasted 5 rounds. He played one team match as What the Flick, and they played against MODOK, got screwed over by movie release dates back when it was a much harder category, and did not do well. But he knows his stuff. Speaking of them wearing Santa hats, he has written a book on holiday movies, so I'm kind of wondering if that'll pop up on the wheel again.
That'd be interesting.
Because we haven't seen that category.
Christmas Patreon match or something like that, right?
Yeah, we haven't seen that category in forever. I don't think we saw it at all last year or this year. I think it's been like 2 years.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering if they dig out that wheel slice again. I'm dying to see that match. I cannot wait for Anarchy. I'm a little upset that certain teams got broken up.
We probably guess who.
Critically acclaimed, I'm just saying, are totally undefeated this season, and we're never given a chance to play for the title.
I'm telling you. Critically acclaimed, Wild Berries, #1 contender match, and it would have been the fucking sellout. Dude, that is a live show instead of the fucking Horsemen. They would have owned that goddamn crowd.
I think they should have been given the point to play in that whole thing of Shire Wolves versus World's Finest, because they had the same record. I don't know why that's not the case. Bibiani has said repeatedly that he wanted to, and that they are not being given the chances to play that they are asking for. That is my only gripe with this Anarchy tournament. I'm sure Chris Clark agrees with me wherever he is.
Are you sure Chris Clark isn't behind you guys pulling the strings?
Oh god. Okay, good. And we are getting a little wrapped up in the future, and we want to make this short. No variety this week, but I do want to touch on the stats before we end this. Inman came out, just back to the actual match. Inman came out better than the first round with an 8 versus a 7. And then in round 2, we saw the big shift where Inman, I think he got Lord of the Rings, or at least Middle Earth, in the second round with 6 points. And then Mara, who personally requested movie release dates, got a 9 out of a possible 10 points. That's amazing. Inman lost the 2 points in the betting rounds. Speed round, Inman did really good at a 3 versus Mara's 1.
Oh, by the way, something about the speed round at the live. I looked at it. I looked at it on YouTube, and I guess they cut that off. But apparently there was like a problem with the buzzers, or not a problem, but I guess Galiski got confused or something, because Inman had gotten in. he got in before Mara a couple times, and I guess he got confused on what color was whoever hit their buzzer first. So I guess they cut that off. I think at that point Mara had answered two additional questions in the speed round.
Wait, so you know what that means? This is the
So
second live show in a row. This is the second live show in a row with a biased judge.
Oh yeah, that was
the league is gonna the fucking Facebook page is gonna blow up now. God damn it! And they're both women, so it's sexist arguments again, motherfucker.
Hey, listen, I think Mara had that match no matter what.
Yeah,
it is what it is.
Mara had 2 more questions to get in the final round. So
listen, it's been days. Nobody is begrudging her this win. The community is celebrating.
Yes.
I don't think there's a need for panic. It happens. Hey, we got over Jane Fonda. We'll get over this.
No, we're fucking not. Are you kidding? It's still a joke. Everyone's Jane Fonda.
Now it's like an old played out joke. It's not like a thing people post on literally everything.
Funny.
At the live event, I was talking to Drew, and he's like, "Can you believe this guy?" He was talking about Ben. This guy. He's like, I should whack him with a stick. He said, I'm the brand. He don't know what he said, but he's like, he made a reference to the whole Giancarlo Stanton. He's like, this isn't fucking baseball. This is movies.
Yeah. Anyway,
jokes out of that.
Anyway,
but yes, we do need to sign off here really quick. Let's get into some final remarks before we say goodbye.
I would just like to start by thanking Oscar for joining us.
Yes, absolutely.
This was a really great conversation. It looked like a really great live event. I personally am not the biggest fan of the Inner Geekdom, but this was probably my favorite Inner Geekdom match that I've seen. And really sad to see Wade I Know This go, because they looked like they had so much comedic potential as a team. Want to see Coy manage again. All in all, I had a blast watching it and a blast talking about it. Oscar, closing words from you?
Yeah, man. If you guys ever need anybody else, this was fun. I have nobody to talk to besides Facebook. This Facebook group to talk about the Schmoedown. This is freaking awesome. I love this. If you guys ever need anybody, be sure to message me.
If we need someone to pick up our laundry or our groceries, we'll call you.
If you guys need coffee as well, I'll pick up the coffee.
Bro, James, is it because he's Hispanic? Is that what's going on here?
I am not a crook.
Don't worry, Oscar. I'm Cuban American, so I understand what he's doing to you. He does this to me all the time. All right.
Okay. On that note of me being a terrible person, we're going to sign off for this episode. You guys want to plug where people can find you?
You can find me around on the Schmoedown Facebook page. I'm there constantly. Right now, that's about it. More to come soon. That's all I'll say.
Yeah, I'm on the Schmoedown page too. You can find me. I'm usually talking on the Team Action, group more. So find me there. Add me if you want.
Right. And here's where I start doing the backlogging. You can find me on Twitter at Temecula Film Guy. That is at TEMECULA Film Guy. You can also find me on my Instagram at James_Spence99. Yes, I am a baby. I know that. And as always, do not forget to check out our boys on Twitter. You can find them at Andrew Guy and at Ben Bateman Media. Don't forget to follow the Team Action Patreon and the Action Movie Anatomy Patreon, where they'll be doing the drunk watch-alongs, unless I think it's separate. I don't know. I don't know anything. You can also find them at Team Action Show on Twitter, and check them out on Wednesday or Thursday, whenever the fuck the show is. I'm a fake fan. Thursday, yes. Thursday at 2 p.m., where they'll be covering The Abyss, the only good James Cameron movie talking about water. And on that note, we will see you guys next week. Peace.
Peace.